All right, good morning, students. Today I'm going to start out by making a Christmas cookie cutter. So I'm going to start out by going on the internet, finding an image that I want. I'm going to make a Yoda baby cookie cutter. I'm going to go to images. I'm going to go to Silhouette and find something that I think is going to work nicely as a cookie cutter. This one actually looks pretty good right there. I think that one might have been the only one that's going to work really well. Looks like I should be happy that I had that one at all. Looks like that's the one I'm going to go with. So let's go back up at the top there and do this one here. Let's see if I can bring up a larger image of that, which did not work. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm going to take a screenshot of this thing to keep it nice and simple. I use the tool at the bottom called the snipping tool. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to file, save as Yoda baby. And I'm going to put it on the desktop here. Save, close that, and it should be here somewhere. Oh, there it is, Yoda baby right there. Okay, now I'm going to open SketchUp Make 2017. Make sure it's SketchUp Make, which actually, if you need to put that on your computer at home, there's a YouTube video about downloading that and putting that on your computer. Otherwise, if you're in my class, then you can use one of the laptops. I'm going to go to File, Import, and I'm going to bring in that image. I'm going to make it pretty good sized because SketchUp has difficulties working with small curves and such when it comes to measurements and such. So if I make it huge, then it'll work fine. I'm going to go up here to Camera and Standard Views, Top, so I'm looking straight down on it. And I'm going to start. All right, so this is grouped, so as I put things, lay lines on top of it, nothing's going to stick to it. All right, so I'm going to start out with this straight line right here. And I'm just going to draw the Yoda shape right on top, the baby Yoda shape, right on top. I'm going to go a little bit bigger so that I can see my line. If I put that line on this, it'd be kind of hard to see. See that tiny little curve right there wouldn't work very well if I hadn't made this huge, because it would have said something along the lines of there are too many surfaces here. Like there's probably about, if you zoom in, you'll see these are little flat spots. It would basically give me an error message saying that I can't do that. But because I'm working really huge, this guy is probably, let me see how big he is. Currently, this thing thinks that this thing is 3,400 inches wide, so that's probably as big as my classroom that I'm working on right now. Sometimes I want to break these curves up into smaller curves to try to get the shape that I want, because the SketchUp tries to get me to do different shapes than I want. See, it's hard for me to get this, But if I come down here less, I guess I can go ahead and do this and then that, but it leaves a bit of a hard corner right there. This one's going to come, I'm going to bring this out to about here, and then come up here like that. It doesn't have to be exactly the same shape at all, just similar. I want this, we'll leave it like that, it's fine. Now, I've made it all the way around, and for some reason, I expected this thing to, here, I'm going to copy and paste the entire thing, which will allow me to delete just the Yoda. I expected this to change to do this. Let me draw a shape here. There are issues in here somewhere. Where are they? Somewhere along the line I made a mistake, and I'm not sure where. I'm going to try to find them by doing things like this. See how that changed color over there? That means that these areas were good. Well, so far so good. Somewhere in here there's a problem. There's a problem somewhere inside here. I'm going to Control Z that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then I'm going to do this. So it's down here somewhere. In the end, I'm going to delete all these lines. We're going to find this problem somewhere along in here. Somewhere in here there's a mistake. Something I did wrong. Somewhere down here, where is it? Oh, there it is right there. And that is causing all my troubles. And now if I do this, it's probably going to close it. So now that's dealt with. How about here? Somewhere in here there's a mistake. All right, where are you? Oh, there it was. It's right here. It's really tiny. Silly little thing. And that'll take care of that. There it is. I think I see it. All right, so I've got the whole thing colored now, which means that I've dealt with all of my mismatched shapes. So now I'm going to erase all those lines. Get rid of all these lines. All my little lines here. And now I have a shape that I could pull out and do things with. So that's going to be the shape of my cookie. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to make this thing, actually I'm going to Control Z. I'm going to copy this so that I keep the original. I'm going to delete the interior of this thing. I'm going to make this thing a group so that it kind of stays put. Nope, I don't want to do that. I'm going to move it into place. Put it back on top of my thing here. And now I'm going to create the inside bit of this thing. let's see. I'm making shapes that I'm going to have stamped into the cookie. Need to be a little bit more careful this time around to try to make sure each time I start a line, I start right on the end point, which is why I was having trouble last time. Okay. So now we have this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab everything, grab the whole thing, and I'm going to deselect the photograph and copy and paste it up here. Okay. All right, believe it or not, I'm almost done. Okay, so now I've got the outside shape, which actually is going to be, just leave it like that, and with the interior stamp of what we're going to do. All right, so let's pull up the things that we want to be part of the cookie. Actually, we're going to start out by resizing this whole thing. I'm going to delete this guy entirely. I'm going to say how big this thing is. It's currently 3,300 inches. In the end, I want it to be 3 inches, so I'm going to make it I'm going to divide it by 1,000. So I'm going to, this is getting complicated here. I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to use the scale button here. And I'm going to scale it down by 0.01, which is 1/100th, I think, of it. And I'm going to take this measurement again. Now it's 33 inches, so I still want it less than that. So I'm going to grab it again, do the scale button. Now I'm going to do it down by 0.1, which is 1/10. And then I'm going to find camera, standard views, top. This is now around 3 inches, which is about what I want. 3 5/16 sounds like a good measurement. Actually, I think it's a little small. Go slightly bigger, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to scale it one more time. I'm going to increase by 1.25. And now it's about 4 inches across. I think that's probably a good size. It's a pretty big cookie. Okay, so I have a different way that I want you to do this than the way I originally did in the video. So this is what we currently have in our video. We have the cookie cutter outside shape. We have the stuff that you want to stamp. The stuff I'm highlighting right here is the stuff that I would be pressing down into the cookie. Step one, I want you to take this shape here, and I want you, first of all, I want you to copy this, make a copy of that. Deselect. Second of all, I want you to pull up on this 1/8 of an inch. Then I want you to select everything that you don't want to pull up. And I want you to make a copy of that and put that on top of the original. And then you should be able to pull that up. Control Z. And in an ideal world, you would be able to pull this up, but it's not working right, which is driving me nuts. Oh. Well, you might need to have to do that. I'm not sure why it shouldn't be that way. But in the end, you want to have this kind of shape here. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. Scroll wheel mouse is not working terribly well here. 1/8 of an inch thick. And these shapes that you want to pull up are sitting on top of here, and you can pull them up 1/16 of an inch. And that is pretty much what we're looking for there. Make that a group. And that becomes your stamp. And now I've got basically a stamp that's going to fit right inside of my cookie cutter that's going to press in that shape. Okay, so I'm going to triple click on this guy and make it a group. Now this one I'm going to use to make a cookie cutter. So this one is the same size as that. I'm going to grab this tool right here, and I'm going to come out 3/16. Now let's just do 1/4 of an inch. 1,4, 1/4 of an inch. All right, so that little spot seems to have been the problem. For some reason, I have no idea. 0.25, enter. And now I suspect, there we go. I don't know what that little spot was, but for some reason it's a problem. So this interior is the same size as this over here. I'm going to now pull this up 1/8 of an inch, which is probably more than we need. I'm now going to do something like this so that I can go from here and come out 1/16 of an inch. And I can delete this, and I can pull this up 0.5 inches, 1/2 an inch. And now I have a Yoda cookie cutter. One way or the other, if you get to this point right here, I will help you from this point forward to figure out any issues we have. This is basically what we want in 3D print. We have a Yoda cookie cutter. We have a shape that fits down into the Yoda cookie cutter to stamp out an image on that. And that's pretty much the end of the video. If you're in my class, you can certainly get help from me along the way, and I will try to guide you to it. You're most likely going to be working with a simpler cookie cutter than this one was. All right, thank you.